From the deepest reaches of the interwebs are two guys here to reveal the secret sauce in helping you develop multiple streams of internet cash flow. Share the knowledge without all the hype. It's the Internet Income Show.
Oh, I like that.
Now get ready for two regular dudes helping you become a smarter entrepreneur, get more out of life, and set you on the right path to becoming happily unemployable. Your host, Dr. Mike and Eric Louvier.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the Internet Income Show. Thanks again for joining us, where we're sharing the knowledge about how to make you a better entrepreneur and how to become happily unemployable. Today we've got Eric. Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you doing?
And it sounds like you just got back from your vacation. Tell me all about it.
I did.
Where'd you go?
We went to Disney World. Okay, went to Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and me, my wife, our 6.5-year-old son, and our 5-month-old baby, and we went to Disney World. We went to Universal Studios. We stayed in 2 different hotel resorts, which was interesting. One of them was right on the boardwalk, or right by the boardwalk, the Disney boardwalk, which was pretty cool. And we just had a blast. And then from there, we went to Sandestin. It's called the Sandestin Golf and Beach Resort, which is really cool for families. I mean, they have fireworks, and they have this village on the bay that has all these restaurants, and it's like a big carnival, and they have rock climbing and zip lines, and you can rent bikes. And I mean, I could talk for hours about everything you can do there. It was a really cool place. It was kind of crowded for me, but I was used to that after Disney World. But we had a great time. My son had a blast, and I was wondering how our 5-month-old daughter was going to do, in the heat and in the, crowd, and she was a trooper. She handled it really well, and we didn't have any issues with her at all. I thought we would, but she seemed to like all the stimulation, and so I had a blast with the family. We had a really good time, and it was really good for me too, because we hadn't been on vacation in a long time, because my wife was pregnant, and then we had the baby, and just kind of the newborn. We didn't want to go out of town, and so it seems like forever since we've had a good vacation. But before my wife was pregnant, we for years we'd go on vacations all the time, and long vacations, month-long vacations. But this was a much needed escape, and came back really charged and have a lot of clarity from that trip, and I'm really excited about moving forward with my business, and I just feel like a much better attitude, just a more humble, more clarity, just feeling pretty good. So the vacation did a lot of great things for me, I think.
I can't believe Julian is 6.5. That's amazing.
Yeah. Goes by fast.
But he had a good time, huh?
He had a blast. He is a big dinosaur fan. I mean, he knows all the dinosaurs. He can pronounce them really well. He's been able to pronounce them for like the last couple of years, which freaks people out, because he was only like 4, being able to pronounce all these crazy, obscure dinosaur names, and he knows if they're like herbivores or carnivores and what period he just knows everything about dinosaurs. And so for years he's wanted to go to the Jurassic Park exhibit and rides and all that stuff, and it was pretty cool, man. The Jurassic Park ride, I got on it with him, and I didn't really know what to expect. He did, because he watched YouTube videos showing what would happen, but I didn't know what was going to happen. And I'm not going to give the spoiler away, but holy cow, man, that was a heck of a shock of a ride for me. I was just thinking like it was going to be this little fun cartoon type of little deal, and it was pretty intense. But yeah, and then there's a dinosaur part of Animal Kingdom at Disney World. We went and did that, so we had a blast, man. Julian had a really great time there, and he's still pumped from it.
Now, it's hard to take the marketer, out of you, even when you're out on vacation. Did you, any marketing lessons that you thought of, or did you completely take your brain out of that situation? I mean, when I go to, like, Disney, I can't help but just, imagine, what this billion-dollar industry, this came from just one man, basically, and his vision in developing, these characters that are now, globally well-known, and now I'm sure you saw a lot of money being spent when you're on vacation and how it all works. But any marketing thoughts that you came across when you were there?
That is so interesting you bring that up. I mean, it couldn't help but to see marketing everywhere, with the app, the Disney World app that you have to download, the reservations for the dinner and lunch reservations that you do on the app, the upselling, the how fast money flows out of your wallet because you're on vacation and it's a memory and it's you're creating memories with your family, and what means more to a father than being at Disney World with his family, his kids and his wife, and the son wants this and wants that. You don't want to be like no all the time. You want to, So it was just amazing how fast the money just went. Like even at the hotel, we do have a suite available, Mr. Louvier. It's only an extra, $225 a night. I'll take it. A view of the fireworks and of Disney World and all that. I'm like, I'll take it. Heck yeah. This is Disney World. So the money would go fast. All the premium things that you can spend. I even saw lots of opportunities too, where I was like, man, I am not liking this line I'm having to stand in to go back to my car. They should have premium rides back to your car, because I would have slapped down $100 to go to not have to stand in line with 2,000 other people, however many people were standing there. I mean, just a lot of things. Premium restrooms I even thought about. Walking and having to stand in line in the restroom when you really got to go. I was like, man, these are some premium restrooms. I'd slap some money down for that too. And it's just a lot of things, that were either maybe available that I didn't know about, or could be available, but just a lot of marketing there that I saw all the time. And then the stats about Disney World alone, I told myself that whenever I got home that I would spend some time just kind of reading some of the statistics and information and history of Disney World, because I saw they're doing some new construction. They had these little signs with statistics and little, blurbs about Walt Disney and all that. And so here's one. There's so much land that Disney World owns there that he purchased that isn't even being used yet. I mean, they could create like 2 or 3 more Disney Worlds in the land that he owns there, and that land that he owns is more than Rhode Island, the state of Rhode Island. Disney World has more land right there than the state of Rhode Island. I was like, holy cow. That's amazing. Another thing I noticed was just the people from all over the world. I don't know how many different languages I noticed just kind of going from one place to the next, and just kind of hearing people talking to their kids and stuff. And I thought, wow, there's just a lot of opportunity here to appeal to their home countries too, and really make a lot of money. Like, I was talking to one person that said that there's just tons and tons of people from Brazil that come to Disney World, and that they were doing some soccer stuff and all that to appeal to that. And I was like, imagine if they had a resort that appealed to people from Brazil, just a resort itself. And that would, if that's one of the countries that floods Disney World, then creating a whole resort that targeted to them that was a super premium, and that they spend a ton of money when they're there too at Disney World. So yeah, there's a lot of marketing stuff there. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I was at Disney World last year, but living here in San Diego, we used to have yearly passes to Disneyland in Anaheim. And I remember this is when our kids were a little bit smaller, and we used to we have wanted the whole experience. So we would get the hotel in Disneyland. There's a few hotels on there. There's a Disneyland hotel, but there's also with the premium one, which is the Grand Californian Hotel. And I remember, like, we spent like 4 days there at the Grand Californian, and I actually calculated it was more expensive to stay at this hotel, which is just a 90-minute drive up the road from where I live, to stay there for 4 days in Disneyland than it was for me to actually go and spend like a week in Australia.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Totally, yeah.
It was crazy. And then, you get upsold to things. I don't know if they had it there, but when I was in Orlando last time, you mentioned the amount of space they had. They were having, like, why, since you love Disney World so much, why don't you, like, live there? Here's our timeshare resorts.
Right.
They have the Disney experience on there. But, truly amazing. And a master marketer was Disney and Holt. And it's a phenomenon. And, again, Frank Kern says people pay for experiences.
Exactly.
Yeah. I could have stayed at a hotel that was a lot cheaper down the road on there, but because, it has that whole Disney experiences with the characters and all that kind of stuff, you pay for that. And that's something you need to think of when people buy things from you, is that people pay for the experience of it and the whole process in that. And if you can incorporate experiences in your marketing, you can charge for premium prices when you do that. But, so thanks for sharing those insights on Disney. I want to shift gears and talk about, I saw you recently were talking about the concept of mindfulness on there and how you're currently incorporating that in there. Tell me, what is mindfulness, and why is it important for entrepreneurs be mindful?
Okay, yeah. Well, for me, I kind of just stumbled upon this when I was researching, like, having too many thoughts. I mean, I know I'm not alone, because there's a lot of other marketers that I've talked to who are like this too. But, I mean, we have a lot of ideas all the time. And for me, I figured out that, I think my wife said something to me one day when I was, like, on my iPad, like, you think too much, or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And it made me realize that, I have all these thoughts all the time. I'm just always thinking about creating new businesses, solving problems, and my mind is always on. It's like if you leave your refrigerator, if I leave my refrigerator door open and I don't shut it, it starts chiming at me like ding, 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 like a car. If you don't have your seatbelt on, ding, 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 and just imagine that sound just like all day and all night, ding, 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 right? Just that's how I kind of relate my mind as far as the grind, just ding, 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 all day, all night, and I'm like, man, I really just need to like slow down. And I noticed, like, if I went to the movies at the theater and watched some good movie, and while I was at that movie, I didn't think of business like hardly at all. Most of the time, I'm really into the movie. I like movies, I'm really into it. And then as soon as I got out of the theater and I was on my way home, I'm like, I had the clearest thoughts. I'm like, wow, I have a great idea. I know what to do, how to solve that problem. I need to go to the movies more often. And other situations like that too, And I started thinking, there's something there, There's something there. Maybe I need to meditate or something. And because it's kind of similar. And then I started doing a little research, and I saw, well, you can meditate for like 10 minutes. I'm like, well, perfect, right? I don't have to go do a 2-hour movie, and take that time. I can just meditate for 10 minutes or so. And then as I was reading the meditation stuff, there's a lot of stuff out there that I was like, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But then I was like, I just want to be able to just shut off my thoughts for 10 or 15 minutes and then get that same feeling, just like coming back from vacation. And so I would just try simple things, and then I stumbled upon mindfulness when I was researching that. And mindfulness sounded perfect to me because it sounded like, I could just, sit there quietly, close my eyes, and just think about my breathing, put my focus and attention on my breathing. And that was really it. If my brain, mind went to thoughts, I started thinking about, I've got to take the trash out, and dang it, the garage is going to be stinking now. And what am I going to do? If I get a thought like that, then I slap it right back to the breathing. I just acknowledge it. Oh, okay, I'm thinking about trash, big deal. Let me put my awareness and my focus back on my breathing. Do that for 10 minutes or so, and then I started downloading some just simple meditation music and stuff on my iPhone, and I would put on my headphones. They're sitting right here, these Bose noise-canceling headphones, which is a great investment, by the way. Totally awesome. It just closes out everything, and you're in your own world. So I just listened to, some soft music or some meditation-type music. There's a couple of meditation basic ones that's just like, close your eyes and, just kind of like hypnotism kind of thing. But what this did for me, and I didn't realize it because I wasn't really getting into the guts of mindfulness. I wasn't trying to, be an expert at it. I was just trying to use it so I can, kind of clarify my thoughts and then because I would notice I'd get kind of anxiety and that's when I would really notice that I'm grinding too much, and I'd start getting these little anxiety symptoms. And so I stopped, trying to think so much so I could just kind of chill all that out. And through the process, I started realizing that this was changing in a lot of other areas of my life too. It wasn't just changing my business, which is great, and that's why we're on the call, and I can talk about that. But I just want to throw in that it also helped me with my personal life too. I mean, my home life with my family and friends and even joint venture partners, which is business, but just anyone that I came in contact with, there's something changed about me. And as I look back over my life, there's a few things that really, really stand out for me as far as transformation, breakthrough, paradigm shift type things for me. One of them was the whole lack mentality side of things. Once I realized, dang, I have a lack mentality, I need to work on that. And there's a difference between, I felt like I knew something most of the world didn't know. And so we could do a whole call about that. But lack mentality was a big transition or transformation for me to work on, and it changed my life. But another one was as I look back, is this mindfulness thing, because it helped me to be in the present moment. And so when I'm spending time with my wife, for example, I'm not listening to her, with one ear and thinking about my business with the other ear. I'm in the moment. I'm appreciating it, And I think that what the mindfulness does is, when your mind drifts off into la la land to think about something, and you snap it back to your breathing, it trains you that when you're in the moment with people or situations to, snap back to the moment and don't let your mind drift off and kind of stop and smell the roses. So if I'm going for a walk out, jog, not walk, when I'm jogging, running, sprinting, when I'm working out, I'll listen to the trees, the birds, and I didn't notice that stuff really before, like those birds, Now it's like, oh, that's a deer. Wow, there's a deer on my path, and look at this puppy. He's so awesome and fluffy, and and the trees are beautiful, and the sky is awesome, and it just feels good, and the sun feels good. And so I started noticing all these, I know this all sounds a little crazy, but for me, it is a big difference. I was just so caught up in my ambitions, in my, what I wanted to do, and all those kinds of things. I just kind of looked at the world differently. And so now I kind of feel like I took off one pair of glasses, which was what I used to look at the world through those glasses, and now I put on a brand new pair of glasses that are more dialed in, that allows me to see more clearly and has made me feel better about my life as far as happiness, and also, and then that makes you a more attractive person when it comes to being successful too, because now you are, or me, I was less, edgy, less, resentful for situations. I'd lose my temper quicker in the past. Now I don't. I'm more forgiving, more, and all of that stuff has paid huge dividends in my business. Before, if someone rubbed me the wrong way, I'd probably go off on them, where now I'm just more like, forgive them so they don't know, and just move on, It's interesting. And so with the transition into the business side of things, what it's helped me do is it's helped me to kind of clarify my thoughts, be in the moment, appreciate things more. Here's another example. People will send me testimonials or say nice things all the time. And a lot of us business owners and marketers, we get that. And in the past, I really didn't pay it much attention. I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. And I would really kind of amplify and pay attention to the people that would not say very nice things, and just imagine how that can impact your business if you let the haters get to you and you're not allowing the raving fans or the people that are saying nice things also get to you, but in a positive way. And so that's another thing where someone sent me like an email and said, hey, man, you really helped me here and there, and I really appreciate that, and I just want to send an email, saying thank you. Well, now I realize, that's a big deal, that's a really big deal. I need to savor that for a second and really appreciate that and respond to that person and say thank you for saying thank you, and it means a lot. And so just that may seem small to people listening to this, but for me, it was almost life-changing because I started to gravitate more towards that and kind of lessen the noise from all the noise out there. It's really hard for me to put it into words, but anyway, all in all, mindfulness or just being in the moment and just kind of, taking some time out each day, if you can, to just be your time to shut your mind down. I think it was really good. It's almost like rebooting your computer, and now it's faster and more efficient, and everything's working well instead of it being grinding, and so that's been so beneficial for me on so many levels. I don't even know where to start or end, but that's a little bit of how that's helped me.
And the reason why I wanted what kind of a topic, it was very similar to what I was reading recently on Reddit of all things. But the concept of mindfulness is something, and there's actually a scientific basis for that. They've done studies on just using clearing your mind and just using meditation. I think one of the most powerful things that's helped me on mine, whether you call it prayer, whether you call it meditation, is just setting aside just a few minutes of the day. I like to do just in the morning before anything happens, and just do simple breathing exercises. Have you ever done it? Very, very simple. Just breathe in, count to 3, 1, 2, 3, breathe in, and then, of course, breathe out, 1, 2, 3. When you do that and you focus your attention on that, and you focus your attention on the breathing, you're not going to have all these other thoughts about everything like that. Your main focus is just on the breathing on there, and you focus on that. When I used to work, I did some work in the emergency room, and one of the things that they say when you have what's called a code, when somebody's crashing and they're dying on there, one of the first things they do is they check your pulse and check your own pulse on there, because if you have somebody that's dying in front of you, Eric, you're probably not going to be doing a lot of thoughts about, what am I going to have for dinner that night, or am I going to record that TV? I'm going to record that TV show. You're going to be mindful about what's currently on that situation, right? And do what you need to do to save that life. So I use mindfulness to get focused on a task. Sometimes I actually repeat to myself, I need to do this right now, and I can't be on Facebook. I can't be on, doing other things. I need to finish this. We've all done launches, right? And we've got a deadline, and we got to launch it that morning or the next morning. How focused are we when we can just focus on having a deadline for it and honor it? And it's so powerful. The other concept that I want to share with you guys that I recently came across is the concept of no more 0 days. You may have heard about this. basically is that you're promising that you're going to do one thing every day that takes you one step closer to your goal. And there are days, where we just don't give a crap, up there, right? And, it's the weekend. We put excuses on there. But if we can just focus on, and sometimes we get overboard. We have on our to-do list, we put 20 or 30 things and we don't get accomplished. But if you can just say to yourself that you're not going to have any more 0 days, that you're going to do one thing that is going to get you closer to your goal. If your goal is to lose weight, well, if I walk 10 minutes that day on there, I'm going to be improving my goal. I remember at one time, and this was a while ago, I said to myself, I'm going to do one thing that would improve my fitness goals on there. And, I wanted to do it. It didn't, some people say you need to exercise 30 minutes a day, right, on there. But if it was, you had a busy day and it was like 11:45 at night, I would stop what I was doing because I wanted to make sure I didn't break that streak of exercising that day. And even if I got 10 minutes in, that was a way that I could accomplish my goal to get me closer to where I wanted to be. The other thing that's associated with no more 0 days is something that you attested to, is that we really have three selves, and bear with me. We've got our past self, our present self, and our future self. And one thing that you think of, and it helps you being in the goal of mindfulness, is that your present self, your future self, depending on what you're doing today, your future self will thank you for it. You're actually helping them. So if you'd say, like, for lunch today, I could either go to McDonald's or I could have a nice, healthy, low-carb meal on there. Well, in your present self, I really want to get that Big Mac, right, on there. But your future self will be pretty pissed off at you that you're going to have that meal on there. You're going to feel that guilt that we all get, right, on there. So if you think yourself that, hey, I want to do my future self a favor and just I'm going to be closer to my goal, to my future self. Now, how that works with your past self is you want to continually be having that gratitude, be grateful that you're in a position right now based upon what your past self did. So if you've got a successful business, you need to be grateful that your past self implemented those things that got you where you want to be. Maybe you're in a business with a partner. Well, your past self allowed you to be in that position because you were able to network, you were able to meet that business partner, and got you to where you are on there. So, you're happily married, Eric, because at some time you decided to ask your future wife on a date, I assume.
She asked me on a date.
All right. So you need to thank your past self for allowing her to do that on there. So, really a cool concept I think about the three selves that you have: your past self, your present self, and your future self. And just remember, what you do today is going to have a tremendous impact towards your future self. So you are the only one who can determine that on there. Does that make sense?
And your future selves are going to thank you for listening to this podcast.
That's right. That's exactly right on there. So just some concepts that I think will help you out. All right, Eric, we went past our usual time. Anything else you want to share before we end the call today?
I just wanted to say another quick little tidbit is I think I read we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 60,000 thoughts a day or something crazy like that. Total mind-boggling statistic on how many thoughts we have in 24 hours. So I think just kind of slowing that down a little bit, or shutting off your brain for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, is just really beneficial across the board. I mean, and that was really interesting what you had to say. I wanted to hear, from your scientific approach or thoughts about this. But yeah, and the other real quick thought was, this helped me a lot beyond prayer too, because, and here's just kind of the nuts and bolts of the whole praying part of it. praying for me always kind of added more thoughts. It was like, if I prayed about Dr. Mike, well, then now when I'm finished praying, I'm thinking about Dr. Mike and, this and that. So I think prayer is definitely hugely beneficial. I've done all my life, but to be able to just shut my mind off was just, something so simple, yet completely life-changing. So try it.
Awesome, guys. Well, that wraps up another podcast. Until next time, keep moving forward.
You just listened to the Internet Income Show with Dr. Mike and Eric. Now, get to work.